Hello, this is Graham Harden, and what we're going to do here is a video for making an overlay of one material on top of a brick procedural so that you can add moss or dirt to like a house. Now, I've used the brick procedurals for Ryan King, who's Ryan King Art. There'll be a link to him in my YouTube. And I've made a couple of wee changes, not many, to suit a square because he developed one for a sphere. So I've added an extra positional node. I'm just trying to get a good look at it here. So I've added extra scale, position, and rotation. But what I've done here is on his node, it selected it all, then pressed Control G, which puts it into a group. And I've moved. I'm just adding extra inputs so that without going into the procedural node, you can change the bricks around, because once they are UV mapped, they will change round. So you need to actually alter the UV mode. So I'm just adding a control. I say control for moss, which is outside the Ryan King node, and this is going to be the overlay. It's going to be for the bricks. This is where when you paint on this, then that's where the moss is going to be. I use Quixel Bridge, which is free. I'll give a link to that as well. So it's Quixel Bridge and Ryan King. And Quixel Bridge is brilliant. There's 17,000 materials to use from. To get the most from them, you need to mix materials together. So this is why I'm setting this up. Reducing the size because there's a lot to come out here. So I've got the albedo. I think that's the rough. There's a bump being added now. Reducing that. It's taking up less space. They're all image files. There's the normal. Don't use the normal or the bump in this example, but I load them up so that I have access to them. The last one should be the displacement, because Ryan uses the displacement in this, and it really pushes out the physical feeling of the blocks. Now I should be getting an RGB mix. Comes into color. People usually do search. I prefer actually going through different ones because then you know where they are. It picks it. It's AB. And this point, I move it down to B just because it's physically lower in the image. So everything above goes to A. And I'll be adding the base color now into the mix. I'm adding the control. That image file is going to from the color to the factor, and it'll be black and white, and whatever's black will put the moss out. As you see on the other side, because there's no mix, it's just coming up white. Go to control for moss, that's what I've named the file, and I'm changing that to white. Press N, fill, just click on it, goes white. Save image. save as, with save as. Just below the save as is save all, which is handy. But you don't know where they're saved, so it can be a bit of a nuisance. And I'm saving it as Blender Projects. Here I'm adding the base color to a part of the mix, and that's it back to normal again. I haven't added any dark colors on the moss control, so there's no green yet showing. Pick that and go to front view. So press 1 for front view. Get rid of the camera. Go into texture paint now. I'm going to add just a little bit in the corner. That's the green coming in now. As you see, you can still see the outlines of the bricks because the displacement is pushing them out, so it looks as if it's like a flat picture on bricks. I actually quite like that. That's a good idea. You could leave that right now, and that would be pretty realistic, because sometimes the moss doesn't bush out, just stains everything green. This is adding the roughness. Same again. I duplicated the RGB mix, brought it down, and I now do shift and right button for it to make a little node so I can pull it out and do the same information from that's going into the base goes into the base factor, goes into the roughness factor, and you see now there's a bit more texture added to the green. It's gone a bit flat. It's going to normal. Yeah, I could have used a bump, but I've had to add an extra bump onto it. But this time, and again, I'm from the control moss, adding a node, shift, right button, stroke across it. So that's tidying it up a wee bit so you can see where this control lines are. That's just adding a wee node so that it looks better. The squiggly lines are hard to interpret. Now going for the displacement. Add a node, pull it out of the way. Why, when you paint it white, you can actually erase some of the picture. So you can undo it, overdo it and undo it. It's good that way. This is me checking how the displacement. Let's look at and see the displacement. Back up and try with RGB mix. Highlight it. Shift D to duplicate and bring it down. Let it sit on top of the line. Changing the factor to see how it changes. All the factors is color and mix. I'm not doing anything really fancy. It's very simple. Changing that, yeah. Trying to keep everything regular. That's the displacement added, and it's very, very strong. Oh, it's in the wrong button, that's why. Or is it? No, it's not. It's okay. That displacement's for the moss, that's why it showed up. Got rid of the moss. The moss is only showing where it is green. Then got a slight white tinge, which I like because you get salt leak from the bricks and possibly salt leak from there. So I'm okay with that. I can change that with color ramp and I would push it in a bit tighter. And that's the cube sorted. Saving. Didn't save and copy. Same as just save as, so I don't change it. I'm making a second save here because of the changes I've made. Back to the original and it doesn't have the adulterations that I've made that you've watched. I have this one now that has the adulterations. I'm now making a small group so that this tidies up. Grouping like this here, when you understand the groups, makes it easier to have a quick look and you know what's happening, where's it going. It's easier to fault find because you could end up with about 20 or 30 nodes, something wrong on one of the nodes, and you don't know where the fault is. Whereas with the groups, you can switch on a group and switch off a group, and then you know, well, within that group, and there's 5, 10 nodes, well, that's where the problem is. It's a good way, as I say, of fault finding, or just simply trying to understand what the node itself, what the group nodes is doing. Renaming these, and then I have to shuffle them because they're a bit higgledy-piggledy. I'm now going to create a house shape. I'll basically change the shape of the cube. Previously subdivided the cube into quite a few wee cubes. This is to help with the displacement. Displacement likes high, a high vertex count. So I've doubled the X width. Control A to acknowledge its scale. As you notice, that looks a bit stretched. So we're going to have to UV map. Okay. Select all. Lines. Edge select. What I'm going to do is select, make a square of the on the edges, and then mark seam. Down to mark seam. Right click when you're on edge select, and you'll have mark seam. You don't get that option if you're on face select or vertex select. Right round, selecting all the edges. Just make sure that it knows that each of these faces is only the face. When you're selecting, you're correcting your UV mapping. Makes a difference. See it later when we're UV mapping. It's all 12 edges selected. Each of the faces is a separate area, so smart UV, don't think it makes a big difference. Oh, that's not too bad. But now the bricks are facing the wrong orientation, so we're going to have to rotate them. So face select, L to select that one face, and one face shows up. And you go to select everything and select one point and press L when you're in the UV map, and you'll just get one face. But it's because pressing L does this. This really means that you can move around quite comfortably without, because you know what you are moving. I'm just doing it. I could select all the UVs. I could select all the faces on that cube, and I could still edit everything individually because I select a point. But doing it this way here, I know which face I'm working with. So select that there, press R, and then 90 gives it a 90-degree rotation. That's it, it's the right way. Just do the rest. The rest of the face is the same. Big thing really sort of need to know is do not overlap your UVs, because when you come to export them to Unreal Engine, we'll have a nightmare. In fact, just it'll be nuts. So I've selected everything to see where everything is. There's a bit of overlap, so I need to be a bit tidier. So really the rest of this part of the video is just going to be tidying up. You can see black splodge in the bottom centre of the white square. That's where the moss has been painted in. So I'm just sorting out all the sides. I'm not overly fussed about the top face or the bottom face, because the bottom faces you're not going to see. Top face is going to be covered by the roof, which will be a later video. But right now it's just tidying everything up. So select a point, cell, and adjust that one. Just gets everything. Some of the faces that you don't want to see. Fine movement here. Because of the high density of vertexes, it's pretty slow. I think that moss control image file is 3K, so it's a big file. This, because I don't see this, I'm going to scale it down so it takes up less space, because it's not going to be used. By 0.5, half the scale, and do the same with the bottom. And then 0.5. These two out of the road. I'm going to have to, what I've seen here is I'm going to add extra sliders, showing their rotation and location. Something scale. Select the scale button. Scale to the scale again. Go back up and you've got an extra 2 sliders to play with. Woohoo. Select all. 20. Yeah, 20 is good. 20 is good. Look at this at the corner and they're not matching. So there's gonna be a bit of fidgeting here. What I want. Find which moves the right direction. Location. So 2 rotations, 2 scales, and 1 location. Is it done? Right, allow the door. We're selected. Extrude. Delete. Door. Hopefully paint. Select. Change from object mode. Select mouse control so you know that's what you're editing. Yeah, that's not too bad. That's it. Still haven't figured out painting white on white. There we go. Got it. Control. Second color. Greenery. Rot. And that's back to white. It's just taking it back to the original brick. It's the paint. At the left hand side. Bringing up brush. select texture, new. I'm going to do as random as well, so that when you're painting it's not the same pattern. Over to this, what do you call it, wee cube thing, and I have a set of brushes I can pick. It smudges a lot better than the actual smudge. You have bits of brick coming through in the green, so it shows how the rot is growing on it. Material, that's what it is, yeah. The checkered, red and black checkered is material. And that's it done. The next thing we'll be adding is the roof. That's everything for now. Got a touch of the cold, so I haven't been best, but I hope this has helped you a wee bit. Thank you very much, and there should be plenty of bits and pieces on the add on. I'll add the brushes, Ryan King's site, and a link to the Quixel bridge. Okay, bye.